Recently, an Australian activist group has taken to annoying payment processors into censoring games on Steam and itch. This strong-arming has forced Steam, the largest game distributor, into censoring on the behalf of a third-party company, of which is merely being told to by a foreign activist group. Not to even mention itch, of which is a significantly smaller company that cannot defend itself from giant payment processors. This whole situation really kicked off after a game called No Mercy, a rape game about molesting your family, was allowed on Steam due to its lax moderation. This activist group was very unhappy with the game and annoyed the payment processors into strong-arming them to take No Mercy off the store page, but then forcing them to take off all adult games. This is a very slippery slope, where maybe in the future or some other activist group could force Steam to take off iffy games off the store page, regardless of the nuance of the story. This situation has shown a large issue previously not really considered, since they first tried strong-arming OnlyFans into becoming safe for work. There is a major oligopoly in the payment processor market. Now, how could this be? It's incredibly simple. The issue is they hold patents and have lobbied regulations to make it outright illegal to compete against them. Some of these patents are over systems that are even required to compete against them. Some of these numerous patents include systems around encryption, fraud detection, and even contactless payment. This all adds up to an oligopoly, and due to the relaxed competition, where they often collude. And what is that called when they collude? A cartel. Now, how might that function? This cartel practically functions like a monopoly, and it's clear it's either their way or your business dies. It's not like you could use cash where you could circumvent the oligopoly, but what about crypto? While yes, it is a very strong alternative that those platforms should 100% add support for, the major issue with crypto is the fact that it's not very accepted as a currency, that it can be more volatile than the reliable dollar. This situation is deeply tragic. They forced Steam, who had a very hands-off approach into moderation, to ban stuff they wouldn't normally ban and break their promise to be hands-off, and to force smaller indie companies such as itch, and maybe soon they might go after other indie game providers that depend on these payment processors. Now, think about it. Even though these payment processors have taken these porn games down, they didn't just kill all demand for these games. There is still a definite demand for these types of games, regardless of what payment processors or activist groups think. They alone cannot control the market, although, as of right now, they do have a definite grip over it. So how might an adult games platform, or to be more specific, a banned games platform, operate? Well, until this tyrannical oligopoly is defeated, they could not depend on traditional payment processors, as they might block access to you. So this platform would have to use cryptocurrencies, or much like Mulvad VPN, you could also add an option for mail-in payment. Or simply, you could host a parallel service that provides game keys indirectly while using traditional payment processors. Now, if you are remotely familiar with libertarian thought, you might know where I'm going. IP laws as a whole are just government-mandated monopolies on ideas, of which aren't even scarce. Now, for an example, let's say John thinks of a picture of a dog and then draws it on a whiteboard. Both Sean and Tom see this picture and decide to draw it on their whiteboard, and John gets mad at them for stealing his idea. Did both Sean and Tom steal his idea of that picture of a dog? No, you can't exactly steal an idea, because that idea of a dog that they drew didn't remove the picture of the dog from his whiteboard. Now, there are simply 3 pictures of dogs on 3 different whiteboards. Now, what if Tom drew the dog even better than John or Sean, and even drew a cute cat on its head, and actually had improved upon John's original picture? Well, Sean had drawn the dog even worse than the both of them, and with its eyes missing from the poor mutt's face. Let's also add that they're in a public area doing this for tips. Who would most likely make the most money? Obviously, Tom would make the most, followed by John and Sean, who made barely anything. Yet, if they all copied his with the same quality, John would most likely make the most as he is the original creator. But let's say John doesn't like how Tom made more than him, even though his is arguably better, so John draws a picture of a chicken and then goes to the venue owner to assure him that he'll be the only one with a chicken drawing that day. So when Sean and Tom come to iterate upon John's drawing, once they draw their takes on the chicken, Tom's looking even better, and including a cute baby chick, they have their drawings burned and they get kicked out. So who makes the most tips that day? John, as he is the sole provider of chicken drawings in the venue and has no competition, so his could actually be worse in quality. Now, how does this apply to payment processors? They have been ordained by the government through IP laws and overregulation in the payment processor industry to be an oligopoly, as monopolies cannot exist without the state apparatus to enforce their anti-competition rules. As I've mentioned, they have patents on essential security technologies to even compete. Not to mention the infrastructure that they already have. My solution is to open up their software to the general public by killing their current patents and other IP laws. It would be incredibly difficult to try and get your own Visa or MasterCard platform up. So you could start your own payment processor called Visa OpenPay or MasterCard AltPay. The original companies could still operate as is as Visa or MasterCard. It is the right of Visa or MasterCard to not want to associate with Steam. The only issue, as mentioned, is there are very few alternatives. Say Visa or MasterCard pulls back from Steam, but Visa OpenPay or MasterCard AltPay does still support Steam. This prevents a cartel from totally censoring Steam like what's happening right now. A prominent part of this solution working would be services that allow opening and managing cards and transferring money across multiple cards. This solution keeps the autonomy of the companies but prevents dreaded monopolies and cartels, and even allows the little guy to easily start his own Visa or MasterCard company. I don't know about you, but I watch Asmongold, and I've been watching his videos about this topic while slowly ripping ass here though, due to how horrible his economic takes have been as of late, and how complicit his audience has been to his proposed solution. His solution is to force companies to provide their services no matter what, as they aren't democratic. Oh no! Here's the thing. He's usually on the mark on most social issues, in my opinion, but he has horrible economic takes, and this is probably one of his worst takes.
Right? And free market, it's not a free, see, the idea of a free market, that is a mirage. The first thing you do whenever you're in a free market is you close it. You immediately close the market. And I did this in Warcraft. Like, this is the reason, like, I used to be an anarcho-capitalist. Like, I used to think that any degree of capitalism, the market will solve every problem given a long enough timeline. After playing World of Warcraft and realizing the amount of ways that you could take advantage of people, I realized that that was a naive worldview. And the truth is that there are so many ways that when you have power, you can use that power to keep your power and to make it even more powerful. The 20 most aggrieved Karens on the internet, they are now facing a deluge of negative sentiment. People are calling them and saying, what the fuck are you doing, trying to censor everything? Praise 4chan, keep going. I think people should keep calling
We've got
too.
a hilarious
Keep calling until they totally stop doing this.
We've got a
And
hilarious.
even that won't be a solution. The solution is to push for legislation to make it to where they can't do it.
They are unilaterally decided without consideration.
Yep.
This asymmetry, along with the lack of transparency and information disclosure, is also a significant issue. Any site's collective shouts
Fucking based. Absolutely fucking based Japanese. If the Japanese want to stop this, why don't they just make a law where you can't do this? It's so simple. Just say either process the payments or get out of the country.
This proposed solution is a very short-term fix on this large issue. This wouldn't resolve the root issue with the payment processors, but would actually cause numerous issues not currently foreseen. Like, what if they're being used in a service that would provide CSAM, and they were forced by the government to provide their service? Asmon's idea is not a good one, and wouldn't solve much or even break up their monopoly. So, in conclusion, this issue is one caused by the government, and using the government to solve this issue is a horrible idea, as it wouldn't solve much in the long term, because the only real solution to this issue is to go open source. This all goes to show activist groups, especially ones that are trying to censor media, are the worst. Anyhow, goodbye.